For today's questions, we are going to use GeoGebra to calculate the distance between a variety of objects. This first question asks us to find the distance between 2 points. I've graphed those 2 points here on GeoGebra. In order to calculate the distance between those two, we are going to go to the Tools menu over here on the left. It's the circle triangle menu. When we click on that, we can scroll down and we can create a line segment. So we're going to click on the segment tool here, and we're going to draw a line segment from A to B. And then we're going to go back to that algebra menu on the left. In the algebra menu, we now have F, the line segment from A to B, and it gives us a distance that's 15.26. You can round that to your desired number of decimal places. On our second question, we're going to calculate the distance between a point and a line. Now this one requires a little bit more work. In order to calculate the distance between this point and a line, we need to figure out the point on the line that we're going to calculate it to. Now when we calculate a distance, we are going to go perpendicular from this point to this line. That is the shortest possible distance, and it is the one that we are going to use to measure the overall distance between that point and the line. So we're going to go back to our Tools menu, and in the Tools menu there's a tool to create a perpendicular line. So we're going to click on that. If we click on this point and this line here, it'll create a perpendicular line, and we can see the intersection is right there. That's the spot that we are going to measure the distance to. So I'm going to put a point there at this intersection. By clicking on this point tool, click on over there, and then we are going to create a line segment from point A to point B. Now that gave it a title of H. Go back to the algebra menu, and we can find H has a distance of 3. So that will be our distance from A to B, or from A to the line F. Our next example asks us to find the distance between two lines. So we have those two lines graphed here on GeoGebra. Now we can see, if we zoom in and out, scroll around, that we have an intersection between the two lines there, and they are going off in different directions. So the question on this one is not actually a valid question. What is the distance between the two lines? Well, it depends on where we are between the two lines, or if we think about it like our last question, where we measure the distance with perpendicular lines, then it's not possible to create a perpendicular line between these two. So on this particular example, because they are not consistent with the distance everywhere, then we are going to say that this question doesn't even make sense, or there is no solution to that particular question. And our final example, we have two lines right here. You might notice that these two are parallel, so we're not going to run into the same problem that we had before because they have the same slope. So if we go to the graph, we can see that they're not going to intersect with each other. The distance remains constant between those two lines regardless of where we are on those lines, and we can draw a perpendicular line between both of those lines. We're going to use the perpendicular line tool. We click on a line here, and we can see that we can place it anywhere along these two lines. The distance remains the same, so it doesn't matter where we are. So I'm going to just click on a point over here, and that will make our perpendicular line permanent. We can see that we have these two intersection points. That's where we're going to measure our distance. So I'm going to put a point at each of those intersections. Point here, point there, and then I'm going to draw a line segment between those two. So we'll click here, click there. It gave our line segment a title of I this time. So we go back to our algebra menu, and we can see that that line segment is 1.54 units. So the distance between those two lines is 1.54. Thank you guys for watching, and good luck.